Now, yesterday, the hopes of the Senate Republican leadership were dashed when several more members of the party decided to come out against the Obamacare replacement bill. Now, according to the New York Times, Mike Lee of Utah and Jerry Moran of Kansas at the last minute decided, hey, you know what, I'm not going to vote for this bill. So that's two more votes that they couldn't afford. So they're not able to pass this Obamacare repeal. Okay. Now, some of them, of course, one is Rand Paul of Kentucky, who's like, no, this is not a full enough repeal. It's too much Obamacare. Okay, so that's what you have to understand. A lot of people are you know, I saw a link to, oh, let's thank Mike Lee for saving Obamacare. You think Mike Lee wants to save Obamacare? No, he wants to punch you in the face harder. Okay, he wants an even more conservative version of this bill, and so does Rand Paul. Rand Paul wants to get rid of Obamacare completely, gone. Now, the only ones that don't are Susan Collins. Okay, Suzanne Collins, she says, hey, man, I'm not going to support that because I got an election to think about. And if we throw millions of people off health care, 22 million, well, that's going to screw my election chances. I'm not going to take that chance. You guys can. Maybe your dumbass voters think, oh, yeah, get rid of my insurance. It's great. I'm still going to vote for the guy who cuts my insurance. Oh, wonderful. But, of course, people like Suzanne Collins, the more moderate Republicans, who live in places where they could easily be replaced, well, that's different. You don't want to go and cut their insurance because you're gonna screw yourself. Now, what's interesting is that of the people who want an Obamacare full repeal, they might actually get their wish. Because right now, of course, it seems like they cannot agree on what to do. Now, one of the options, according to the New York Times, is they can try to rewrite it for like the 15th time. Okay, let's make a little, you know, change here to appease the conservatives. But we got to get the moderates on board, too. So we got to give them something. Is it enough for the moderates? Well, if it's too much for the moderates, then it's not enough for the conservatives. Then I got to go over here. So that looks like it's not going to be fruitful. All right. They're just not going to agree on anything because oddly enough, the right is so far to the right that nothing short of full repeal is going to satisfy them. So that's the direction they seem to be going. Now, there's the moderates, however, they're thinking, well, maybe we should just reach out to the Democrats and do some tweaks and do some fixes and not actually go with the whole repeal replace thing. Because, you know, I was up for it, but now, since we can't agree on anything, I might just reach out to the Democrats. So there's your two options here. Now, there's actually a third one, which I've already mentioned, and that, of course, is from The Hill, or is reported by The Hill. With 4 GOP senators opposed to the current GOP bill, Mitch McConnell, officially had closed the door on legislation late Monday night. Now, in a statement, he said, regretfully, it is now apparent that the effort to repeal and immediately replace the failure of Obamacare will not be successful. Now, there's a word in there, it's very important, immediately. Okay, so that's the word here. So, and look, by the way, there's another word I wanted to point out, and that's failure. And, failing Obamacare. Actually, a lot of studies have shown that Obamacare, what it's designed to do, it is actually working, although it is, of course, imperfect, which are some of the problems. You know, high deductibles, rising premiums, etc., which is true. They are happening, but they're actually rising at a slower rate. Nonetheless, you can point out how they are rising and how people cannot afford to use their insurance or deductible, and that's fair. That's something that I would hope that people would want to fix. Okay? Now, again, his new plan, since McConnell said, well, we can't immediately repeal and replace Obamacare, so let's just replace it. Quote, in the coming days, the Senate will vote to take up the House bill with the First Amendment in order, being what a majority in the Senate has already supported in 2015, and that was vetoed by then-President Obama. A full repeal of Obamacare with a 2-year delay to provide for a stable transition period. So basically, they're going to vote to repeal Obamacare soon. Like, as soon as they can try to get enough votes. Now, the problem is that they didn't have enough votes last time, so that's why they didn't vote on it. So, but nonetheless, McConnell's going to push this. He's going to try again, right? And what it's going to do is that it's going to delay the implementation until after the midterms. So vote to repeal it now. Some of the stuff stays in effect until 2018, and then it all kind of falls apart. And in the meantime, it also, the things that aren't protected also get, also fall apart. So, you're going to end up losing subsidies, the Medicaid expansion, etc., all that stuff within that span of time. It's going to be a disaster, but it's not going to be to full effect until after the midterms. Now, that actually might be an effective strategy, and let me explain why. See, if they can get the votes, again, there's a problem with getting votes, because they already tried this at the beginning of the year, because, again, some moderate Republicans decided, hey, I'm not going to vote for that. Why? Because it would essentially destroy all the changes and all the people that got insured through the ACA for the first time. Well, they're going to lose it. In a lot of these places, people are like, even some of the Republicans are like, yeah, but it actually helped our people, and we kind of have to give a shit about them, at least, until our election, okay? Because we want to get reelected. Okay. Now, you also had the CBO, in fact, saying that a repeal that the 2015 repeal-only bill would lead to 32 million more uninsured people over a decade. So that's what that would do. And I'll list off some of the other things this full Obamacare repeal would do to show you why these moderates are not in favor of this, okay? And why it might not work as a strategy. Now, again, 32 million people would be uninsured over the next decade. It would also double premiums. So, hey, you think Obamacare premiums are high right now? Just wait. They pass this repeal bill, your premiums are going to go up by double. And you have about 18 million people as a consequence of that losing their insurance within the first year. Disaster. Not only that, that's not the only effect. Of course, it would also kill jobs. Wait a minute. I thought we were going to create jobs under the Trump presidency, under the Republicans. No, what they're going to do by killing the ACA is they're going to kill a lot of jobs. Well, how many? According to a report from researchers at George Washington University and the Commonwealth Fund, repealing the ACA's health insurance subsidies and Medicaid expansion, like the 2015 bill that McConnell wants to bring back, would result in a nationwide in a loss of about 3 million jobs. So 3 million jobs gone out the window. Now, a lot of those would be in healthcare, but would also be in, careers that are supporting the healthcare industry. So as that contracts, you're going to lose jobs in those support industries. Great. Wonderful. Not only that, but it would also increase uncompensated care costs by over $1 trillion for the decade after 2019. Because low-income people would no longer be able to afford to pay for hospital care. If they no longer have insurance and they no longer can go and see their doctor, they're going to hit the emergency rooms again. That's uncompensated care. They can't afford those emergency room bills. Well, that's going to get cost shifted to those who have insurance. Now, a full repeal, finally, would add, deficit hawks, get ready, $350 billion to the deficit over 10 years. Disaster. You call yourself a fiscal conservative, you're going to look at that and be like, what the fuck? That's going to cost $350 billion. And 32 million people are going to lose health care. Why? Because in Obamacare, there were certain taxes. Look, President Obama made sure that this bill was revenue neutral and actually ended up with some of the taxes involved in the ACA raising revenue. Weirdly enough. But no, it's a big socialist spending spree is what they call it. Oh, Obamacare is going to cost so many trillions of dollars, and it's going to kill grandma with the death panels, and it's destroying America. And also, it's worse than slavery. Those are all arguments that they've used against the ACA. And none of that has happened, obviously. But again, one of Republicans had to make sense, right? Now, Republicans, look, Mitch McConnell, he probably thinks like, no, this is a genius move trust me, what we're going to do is we're going to do what we always do, is we're going to hold Democrats hostage. We're going to hold 32 million people hostage, okay? Millions of jobs and billions of dollars in hostage as a hostage, okay? That's our plan. So that we can get the Democrats to vote on our crappy bill. That's it. That's what they're going to do. Classy, dude. Hey, when everything doesn't work, extortion, blackmail, holding hostages, that's what the Republicans have always done. And they've held hostage on the debt ceiling before. So, we'll let the country default. I mean, you remove Democrats. And sadly, it might actually work. Because, again, Democrats, I don't trust the Democrats to not fold on this issue, because they might think, well, hey, man, if we pass the Trumpcare, then, well, and so far, thankfully, they haven't gone in this direction, but they could. If we save the, do the Trumpcare and save some parts, at least some people will have insurance, as opposed to $32 million or 32 million people losing their insurance. So this just shows that the GOP is more than willing to burn it down, to completely burn down the whole thing, take 32 million people and billions of dollars with them. So this is the kind of people that you're dealing with. All right. Now, there's more. Now, Trump, like usual, he's going to respond to this, and he's going to go on Twitter. He says Republicans should just repeal failing Obamacare now and work on a new health care plan that will start from a clean slate. Dems will join in. So, again, that's part of that thought process. If we threaten to burn the whole thing down, or if we get rid of it completely, then, well, the Democrats will have to join in, because the Democrats, well, they're going to start from a weakened position politically, because, we want people to have insurance, right? Now, the thing is, though, is that, well, okay, let me get another quote from Trump here before I get into that. He says, there are serious problems with Obamacare, and my goal remains what it has been for a long time, to repeal and replace it. So there's Trump's statement. That's what they're doing. Now, look, there's a chance that this could work, but there's also a huge chance that this could blow up in their face. So this is politically risky, okay? Because there's a universal truth in politics is when you start giving people something from the government, like, for example, when they instituted the New Deal policies, Social Security and Medicare have been under attack for decades. It's not gone. People love it. And it's, number one, it's because it works. Number two, it's very efficient. It's cost efficient. And again, it's something that people need. And once people get that and realize, oh my God, I've got healthcare now. Well, it's really hard for someone to come and take it away. In fact, when you start talking about, oh, we got to take that away, people get really defensive because it ends up being, it's an incredibly popular program. The ACA is starting to become that way. And that's why, once after Trump got elected, ACA started to get much, much more popular. So people are like, yeah, but I like having insurance. I like being able to go to a doctor. Yes, it's got problems. Yes, my premiums have gone up a little bit, but far less than they would have been. Or no, my premiums actually went down. Or no, I actually got Medicaid expanded to me in my state. So I was able to actually get health care for the first time. You're not going to take that away from me. We don't want you to take that away. So that's one reason that this entire thing could blow up in the Republicans' face. This could lead to a shutout. But that's why they're doing the delay. Oh, no, what we're going to do is we're going to delay it until after the election. We're really smart. And let's hope that people don't catch on to what we're doing, so they're not going to really have a whole lot of pain. Okay. It's amazing. But this is what they're doing. So once you give people, though, that healthcare, when somebody starts talking about taking it back, no, it's almost impossible. But see, Now, some Republicans might be thinking, no, let's just wait until the pain sets in, and then the Democrats, they're going to work together with the Republicans, will get something done, okay? So some of the ones who are against the ACA, they're going to say stuff like that. They're going to think that way. But I got news for you guys. That's actually not going to happen. If they manage to get rid of the ACA completely, just repeal it, and then do this bullshit delay, right? What's to stop them from delaying it later? Once it's gone, do you think the Republicans are going to go and, okay, let's do healthcare reform. Let's do a massive entitlement program for most of the nation to get cheaper health insurance. You think this Republican Party is going to do that? Led by Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell? No, of course not. You know why? Because they don't want you to have health care if it involves them paying just a little bit more taxes. And that's the issue here, okay? It's really, it's a lot about greed, okay? And the question is, how greedy can they be? And the answer is, there's no limit to the greed of some Republicans. I mean, first they tried to slap something together to help their more vulnerable members survive re-elections. Now McConnell says, you know what, fuck it. The farce is over. We just want to get rid of it so we can have these giant tax cuts. That's it. And they're saying we are willing to throw 32 million people off this health insurance in order to get our tax cuts. We tried being nice. We tried being moderate and not completely fucking over everybody, just 22 million people, but no longer. We're done playing nice. We don't give a shit. We want our tax cuts. This is a Republican message. This is what this healthcare fight's been about. This is what it's always been about. Don't buy into the Republican hype about, oh, patient-centered healthcare and market-based plans. It's going to be so much better, so much cheaper. You've seen the facts. You've seen the data. If you don't believe me, you can look it up for yourself. All the Republican plans have ended up having worse outcomes for everybody who is not young and healthy and or super rich. Because that's who they care about and no one else. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.